What is correct, and everyone? This is Renelzy coming back at you with another Hawkeye Star video, and today we're going to be taking a look at who is the best option for the 4.0 selector. But before we get into that, please do not forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe so we can keep growing the channel, and I will meet you higher and higher. Alright, let us get right into it. So, you get to pick any of the characters in this list right here. I'll put it on screen. Pretty much the options go Jingliu, Kafka, Danhong and Barber Lune, Jingliu, Sparkle, Acheron, and then Aventurine. Obviously, if you're playing for whoever you love, pick them first and foremost, but I think the best possible options are probably going to be threefold. The supports are going to be the best options here, so Kafka is going to be probably the single best option if you somehow don't have Sparkle. The one funny thing is that we'll start out with Sparkle. He's going to be probably the best generalist for a good amount of time, and especially after her buff, she's going to be really, really good. If you don't have a copy of her, I would say first and foremost pick her up. She's going to be pretty good for a generalist, and there's the fact that she's also going to play into the Elation meta, which is quite helpful. I do think it could potentially be worth picking up an Eidolon or two for her if you don't have that yet. We'll get into that a little later though. But if you don't have any of these characters, Sparkle's going to be your pick here because she, like I said, she's going to be a good generalist for a lot of different teams. If you somehow don't have her for your archer, pick her up for him, you're gonna be in good hands. Not too much to say about her besides that. And then after that, I'd probably say Kafka is the next option. She is the case though where if you're not playing into Dot, we're gonna be doing that, so I'm gonna be potentially thinking about picking up a copy for an Eidolon. But pretty much, if you want to run Dot, you have to have her. You have to have her, you have to have Heya. That's pretty much the combo that you want. If you don't have one or the other, the Dot team's not going to be nearly as good. Pretty simple. If you don't care about Kafka and you really want to run Dot, I suggest looking elsewhere because her and Heya are pretty much tied at the hip. You're not really going to find situations where they're going to be doing well without one or the other. Which, if you're a Kafka fan like me, amazing. If you're not a Kafka fan, then uh-oh. That's just how it is. The next one, I would say, is probably the most worth it, besides the two I just mentioned, would be Aventurine. We might actually pick him up. Our selector, I have to decide, and I have to see how roles go first to see who I actually want to do. But Aventurine is one of my favorite characters in Star Rail so far. And then it's also the fact where he's a sustain. I will say, if you started in 3.4 like me and you were spending your pulls at least remotely intelligently, you have Danhong from Answer Terre. Presumably you either have his light cone or a cone that can work for him. So he's going to be one of your best sustains. He is one of my best. And then you'll also have the option of Gallagher. If for some reason you skipped Hyacine. However, let's say you did what I did and you pulled for Hyacine, you got Hyacine. Now you have the option of using Hyacine and Danhong and Gallagher. That's 3 sustains for your anomaly arbitration team. That's more than enough. However, if you want more security, maybe take out Gallagher and then put in Aventurine. Aventurine and Danhong could be fighting for... Well, they're not really fighting for cones very much because of the way Danhong scales with attack instead of defense. But for us, they might actually clash because I'll just show what we have on Danhong real quick. Right here. So I gave him the Battle Pass cone, which is just generally helpful, right? I'll be clear for a second so you guys can read in the event you don't have it. So we have it as 4. It increases the shield effect given by 21%, and when an ally target has a shield, the wearer's damage dealt increases by 18%. This is at S4, obviously. We might pick up S5 next time, but They might be if you are new like me, and this is obviously like the best one, right? Because Aventure's not going to be running in 4.0, so you're not getting his cone. They might be fighting over this, but then there's also there's other options as well. You're not locked down. There's probably a good option for Aventuring as well. Like actually this one might actually be decent. This might actually be pretty decent for him. I might just put that on him. But I'm pretty sure there's other options that will be viable, but keep that in mind in the event that you are a paying player. If you're not a paying player, you're not using this cone. Pretty simple. We might pick him up, Aventuring. He's probably the third option, I would say. He's not required, but he's one of my favorites, so we probably will pick him up. He's kind of in the same slot as most of the other ones, though, where it's like, okay, if you have Kafka, you have Sparkle, and you somehow don't have a good sustain by now, or you just like Aventuring that much, then you could pick him up. He's still in a good spot. He's not as good as Dan Hong, I feel like, anymore, but this game is a game of favorites. If you want to get an Eidolon for your boy, that'll be a good thing. The next... Honestly, after Aventuring, it gets a little tougher to recommend these characters because they're all DPSs now, so like, not as much reason. I'm trying to do... I guess we'll do a DPS order. I think in terms of the best one right now, I'm going to give it to Jingliu. So she's probably going to be the next one we pick. If for some reason you're looking for a meta DPS, I mean, she's not really meta per se, but she's very good now after her buff. She's not quite as good as Blade per se, but she did get out pretty well, all things considered. She could have got off way worse. She's not like mega impressive though, so unless you get like an Eidolon or two with her, I don't know if getting her E0 baseline is really the best idea here, but you could do it. Had it been a different timeline, I might have picked up Jingliu, but I bent the polls differently. So this is where we are. After her, I'm considering E0 for all this. When we talk about Eidolons, I'll consider other characters. I think after her, we're actually going to put the reinforcements man, Jing Yuan. He is in the case, sadly, where unless you have Sunday, he's not really that viable anymore. He kind of just... It seemed... I've heard this talked about. It's just pretty funny. Like, if you want to build Jing Yuan and spec into him, you don't build his Eidolons. You build the support's Eidolons. That's just a funny concept to me, because normally it's the opposite, right? You want to build that DPS's power, you're going to want their specific Eidolons, but I've heard Jing Yuan's Eidolons are kind of just, like, not that good. I guess it's also the problem where he's a version 1 character. His Eidolons are going to be worse off, generally speaking, because his kit's simpler. So I don't know if I'd recommend picking Jing Yuan at all, to be honest, but he's in a better spot if you have Sunday. After him, I suppose I'll put Acheron there. I could be... it's kind of a toss-up between Acheron and Jing Yuan, to be honest, because both of them at E0 are not really that great anymore. Nihility is also a problem with Acheron. If you don't have a few Nihility characters for her to play with, she's not going to be as good. So if you don't have like Cypher or the buff Silverwolf, I guess I'll just show of here who's useful with her. You could use Pella. That's a good free-to-play option. I don't know how viable they are anymore in endgame per se, but you can use them. I'm sure you'll see some success. I don't think you'll be 0 cycle 3-starring at it with an E0 Acheron nowadays, especially without her cone. That's another thing. She really wants her light cone. Acheron does. If you don't have it, you're not going to be having as good of a time. There's characters that can work with Acheron though. Like I said, Silverwolf works. Ella works. If you have Jiao Cho somehow, yeah, he can still work. And then Cypher's probably... I'm thinking the best two is probably Cypher and Silverwolf, but they're also the most recent here, quote-unquote, because Silverwolf got buffed the most recently, and then Cypher's the most recent Nihility character that works with Acheron. I don't know if you could get Fugue or Dahlia to work with her. You probably could... I don't know, maybe? I can't really test that because I don't have Acheron, but you could. This will change once we start talking about Eidolons, though. Honestly, if you want to say Acheron above Jingyuin because you have Silverwolf and Cypher, I would understand it, though. I feel like they're not mega far apart when you have their preferred teammates. Again, I could be fully wrong. I don't have Jingyuin, I don't have Acheron. That's why I'm thinking about it. And then, yeah, last but not least, we have freaking Dan Hong and Babylon Lune. Goodness gracious, this guy needs help. This guy. I think his design's cool. And being a skill point character is very interesting. If you have Sparkle, he could be an interesting pick because he wants to use skill points. But then at the same time, I understand this is a free pick, but you might as well just wait and then go for Sparksy because she's going to be better than Dan Hong by Lune. So if you want a DPS that works with Sparkle, you might as well just wait for Sparksy and then get Yao Guang as well, then you'll be in a better spot. But if for some reason you want to run Dan Hong, I mean, I'm not going to stop you, right? I think he's the worst pick here, though, by far. He's not in a good state. He's a version 1 character, and then there's the fact that I think his Eidolons are pretty eh. Well, the action advance pretty nuts on E2. Again, it's the version 1 character syndrome where it's just their Eidolons aren't as strong as they once were. It's a shame. But that's where Dan Hong is right now. Now, if we talk about Eidolons, right? It's pretty much the same as before. It's like the best 2 options are Sparkle and... where is she? It's Sparkle and Kafka. Now, if I had to rank the actual Eidolons, let's take a look. So Cypher is her ultimate, yeah. So instead of 1 turn, it's 2 turns, I believe, for Cypher. Let me double check that so I'm not lying to you guys. I believe Cypher... It's... Couldn't really say. I believe Cypher's 1 turn, though. I wish it would say how long Cypher is. Well, even if it's 2 turns, having an extra uptime turn is very helpful. I think this is a really good pickup. Again, I gotta see how pulls go when we get into version 4.0 really soon. At time of recording, I think it's actually tomorrow. So that's awesome. I'm looking forward to that. But I think Eidolons wise, E1's a really good pickup for Sparkle. 1 extra turn of uptime is really helpful, and then having a 40% damage or attack increase rather when you have all that stuff going on with Cypher is really good. E2, I mean, defense ignore is pretty good in this game, but it's not that much. 8%'s not that much. Helpful though, definitely helpful. So I think Sparkle E1 100% is going to be up there pretty high. And then this is the tough one for me personally because let's say the pulls go well. I'm really tempted to pick up E1 Kafka, much as I love Aventurine, because this is just crazy, dude. This E1, when using an attack, has a 100% base chance to increase the damage over time taken by the target by 30% for 2 turns. Guess what this does, right? You're running the damage over time team, which is the dot. This just makes you do more damage, period. For free. I say free, it's an Eidolon. But you get more bang for your buck with this Eidolon. That's kind of crazy. That's wild. That's really good. And then dot dealt for E2 is also really good here. These are, yeah, I think Kafka Eidolon's probably a little bit more valuable than Sparkle's, but Sparkle's also a lot more universal. You also should keep that in mind. I'm thinking, like, honestly, they're pretty equal in my brain. I don't think you're going to be wrong either way. I think it just depends on what team you prefer more, right? So if you like using skill points, maybe go for Sparkle. Or if you like generalists, Sparkle's a good E1 here. If not, and you love dot, Kafka's going to be great. I think your E1 and E2 are probably more insane overall. Maybe I'm underrating this defense penetration or defense ignore. That's only 8%. It's not that much. And then after that, I mean, I think adventuring Eidolons are pretty good, but I don't think adventuring Eidolons mean as much. You see this extra crit damage? Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, extra shield though. Extra shield's good. These are good Eidolons. I don't think I would put them up there with the other two though. I think specifically the third rank 3 for Eidolons is gonna be Acheron though. Like E1's kind of, yeah, whatever, pretty good. However, E2 is like the Eidolon that people talk to you about to get for Acheron. So if you have her E1 and you want to get her to E2, okay, this is a really good priority to do because it unlocks a lot of her, what she wants to do. E1 is good if you just want to get it here and then maybe next time Acheron runs you get E2. That's another consideration you could do. It really depends on just how much you love playing Acheron. I think she's probably the third best option here though. And then after that, honestly, it kind of just doesn't really matter anymore. Eidolon's wise. Like after Kafka and Sparkle, and then specifically E2 Acheron, or if you wanted to use E1 Acheron, you open the path to E2 when she reruns, that's also an option. Obviously, adventuring Eidolons up to E2 are really, they're good. They're good, don't get it twisted. But after those, it's like the rest of the Eidolons just don't really mean that much, to be honest. Especially because the problem with the DPS is, right, I think pretty much every single DPS here has been power crept to, at least to an extent. All of them have. That's not good. But if you really love these characters, don't let me stop you. If that's who you want to run, then you'll have fun with them for doing that. Absolutely, do it. But in terms of the meta, can't say I recommend anyone else. So if I just had to give a soft list, just so you guys have that in your brains, I would say Sparkle's probably the best. Pick up Sparkle if you don't have her. Pick up Kafka if you don't have her. If you want to run Dot. If you don't want to run Dot, don't pick her up. And then after that, I would say Aventurine is the third best if you don't have him and you want another sustain. I would also tell you that Kafka and Sparkle Eidolons are a bigger priority than picking up Aventurine. And then if you want to open an Eidolon for Acheron, E1, E2, that's good too. Depends on how much you like playing her though. And then after that, it's kind of just the rest of the characters. Yeah, man, their Eidolons included. They don't really mean a lot nowadays. In the meta, of course. Hopefully they buff these characters pretty soon. They all need it pretty badly. But that is what I have for you guys today. If you guys enjoyed, please do not forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll be back with some more Star Rail very, very soon. If I am correct at time of recording. Yeah, Planarcadia is today. I'll look forward to another video today. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be uploading another one. I am ready. I know my 14 polls here don't say so, but I did actually do some polling for a Dance S5, and then we got it. And then we also got all these characters, the 4-star ones, maxed out on Eidolons. That's another reason. Anyway, I'll see you all later today, actually. I'll catch you all very soon. Laters.